Welcome to MSP Voice, the weekly show for MSPs by MSPs. Brought to you by MSP 360, the #1 cross-platform cloud backup. Learn more at msp360.com. This is MSP Voice. Hello and welcome to MSP Voice. This is episode number 65. Today I am pleased to be joined by Dan Sadlis with Tech Solution out of Gulf Shores, Alabama. Dan runs a small MSP down there. He also does some break fix, so stick around for the interview at the end. Very, very good one today. Before we get started, we've got some housekeeping. So of course, mspvoice.com is your source for all things MSP Voice. We've got the Be the Next Guest. Just click on that, fill out the form, and of course, you can be a guest right here on MSP Voice. Also, check the blog for announcements about upcoming webinars, as well as every episode that we've ever recorded is on mspvoice.com. From our sponsor, a couple of things today. MSP 360 is going to be at IT Nation Connect. That includes myself, of course. I will be there. So we've got a blog post detailing exactly, where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. I'm excited that we're going to have Tom Lawrence, who you may remember from both episode 1 as well as our 1-year anniversary episode. He's going to be our special guest at IT Nation Connect in Orlando. So he will be shooting some video, audio, things like that for his YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out. Another exciting thing is we're giving some things away. So we have a drone, we've got some Bluetooth speakers that we're giving away, and we're doing it in a unique way. We've got Halloween treats. So IT Nation Connect falls on Halloween this year, which means that during the pub crawl on Thursday night, they're also going to do trick-or-treating. So we have some what we're calling internally Wonka bars. So if you've seen the movie Willy Wonka, you'll know that the bars with the golden ticket win the prize. So be sure to stop by booth 714, MSP 360, to get your Wonka bar, to get a T-shirt, to have a chance to win. We'd love to have you there. Next up is something that apparently we've had for a while here at MSP 360, but I just found out about it as these things go. We have some assets for you, for MSPs, and this particular one is Stay Safe from Phishing. So there's actually 3 different things here. These are all white label downloadable assets. All you need to do is put in your name, your business email, and you can download these things. First up, we have posters, which is great. You can hang the poster up on the wall at your customer's office to give them tips and tricks on how to avoid being phished. We also have a presentation that you can give to them, so to kind of raise their awareness on that. And then, of course, a phishing response checklist. It even includes some PowerShell scripts for Office 365, so that you can automate some of the things that are supposed to take in response. So all of these are free. All you need to do is put in your name and email, and you can download them right away and start using them. A couple things in the news. First up is, I'm not sure if you saw this, but the FBI has issued a surprise new cyber attack warning. Multi-factor authentication is being defeated. Now, the headline, kind of scares the crap out of you, but when you actually go down and read it, basically what they're saying is that they're circumventing multi-factor authentication through common social engineering and technical attacks. So common social engineering, I understand. Technical attacks, I'm not sure exactly what that means. But multi-factor authentication still seems to be one of the safest things you can do to protect yourselves, protect your customers from ransomware and all the different malware that's out there. But definitely check this out. Keep an eye on it in case these warnings come up even more, or they start to detail some more of these technical attacks that they're a little bit vague about. And finally, do you want to be in the MSP 500? So CRN has launched their application to be in the 2020 Managed Service Provider 500, the MSP 500. It's a great list. So there's a link here in the show notes. Click on it. You go through, you go through the application. You've got plenty of time. January 21st of 2020 is the deadline for this. But if you want to kind of get started on it, and you want to be included in the list, definitely check it out. So that way you can add that badge to your website and get some fame and recognition for that as well. So with that, I am now going to go ahead and turn it over to the interview with Dan Sadlis from Tech Solution. Fun interview, and I will talk to you guys next week. Hello and welcome to MSP Voice. Today I am pleased to be joined by Dan Sadlis out of the Gulf Shores, Alabama area. Dan, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're with Tech Solution.
Yep, Tech Solution. I am a very, very small MSP
Okay.
and break fix IT company.
Okay.
I've not gone one way or another there, but there's this area has very limited techs,
hmm
and of which there's still only very limited good techs of that. So um, I'm actually there's probably about 2 to 3 companies here that I would actually trust to work on a computer, and
Okay.
so that's more or less why I'm both break fix and MSP, because it's like, well, you got to give the public
Yep.
access to decent work and all that stuff. So it's frustrating at times, but it is what it is, kind of a thing. And uh, plus, around here, we've got a lot of people that meet. I mean, it's a retirement area, but it's
hmm
also a vacation and work area too.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I meet anywhere from low income people to billionaires,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting. And but most people that have a lot of money here, they don't look like it. I mean,
Yeah.
they just they're very low, low under the radar people,
hmm
and so you get to hear their how their life is and all of that stuff. And so it's actually a lot of fun because
Cool.
you get to know people, and I
Yeah.
mean that's a big thing. But as far as MSP goes, I've been one for about mm, an unofficial MSP for about 2 years,
Okay.
for and then realistically an official MSP about 3 months, 4 months. I was
Okay.
doing all the services, but I didn't
hmm
have the software and all of that stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you didn't have
Yeah,
your stack defined and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
exactly. So
yeah.
that was a hard problem.
Yeah, and I live in Florida, which is obviously right next to Alabama.
Yeah.
Season's coming up, right? You talked about
Hmm.
retirees, so
Yeah.
the down here the change. It's not the changing of the leaves; it's the changing of the license plates. So.
Yes, yes, very much so. That's yeah. I don't think I've heard that one actually.
Oh,
That's a
really?
good
Yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah. We call them snowbirds here.
Yeah, that's what we call them too. So.
Okay, yeah, yeah. It's I mean nothing derogatory. We
No,
like
no, not at
they're
all.
useful.
They-
Sometimes they steal salt, salt and shaker, pepper shakers and all of that stuff. But it's like, eh, all right, you're the bad part of that group,
yeah.
So
No, they keep our economy running down here.
yeah, oh yeah.
So, in terms of, getting into business and starting
Mhm.
Tech Solution, did you have a career in IT first? Did you go to school? What kind of background do you have?
So I've been working on computers since I was like 13. I grew up
Okay.
with a computer. My parents were just like, you know, you're welcome to use it, but you get a virus, you do anything, you're fixing it. We're not taking it to the store. So, I had to, fix my mistakes and all of that stuff. So that's how I kind of got into it. And then I went to college up in Laurel, Maryland,
Oh,
at the time a college that was called Capital College, but now
hmm
it's Capital Technology University.
okay.
They are there's like 500 people on campus,
Hmm.
but they are a spearhead for cybersecurity
Okay.
and other technology and all of that stuff. But I mean, it was a technology and engineering school,
hmm
but where our cyber team probably had a whole 10 people on it,
Oh,
and we were
small.
very very small, and would come in like second or third place with like University of Maryland
Oh,
and all the other really large schools that had
hmm
like 4 or 5 times the cyber team.
okay.
So it's actually run by well, the vice president at the time was a former FBI head,
Hmm.
and we're it's down the street from like the FBI
hmm
joint CIA building
Oh, okay.
that no one really knows about. it's a really cool area over there, but
Yeah.
I wholly recommend it if anybody ever wants to learn stuff about it, because it wasn't just the theory. I mean,
Hmm.
it was all hands-on stuff. So,
Cool.
that's it was awesome. And then came down here, or came back down here. My family was here for well, since 2004,
Okay.
and none of the IT companies were looking for anybody.
Hmm.
And so, I went back to working fueling boats at a marina, doing IT work on the side, and eventually it became I was like, man, I'm making more money on the side than I'm doing, working
Yep.
40 hours a week. And so I said, I'm just gonna do that from now on.
Okay.
So I finished out the summer with them, and I started my business in September 28th of 2015.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah,
So, well, 4 years now. So
yeah, 4 years.
great.
Yep.
Awesome. And like you said, you do a mix of break fix and MSP, mostly just
Yes.
because of, like you said, of where you are.
Yeah.
It just works out better that way.
Yep.
Which do
Exactly.
you prefer?
Well, I prefer the MSP side, but I foresee staying as a joined company kind of
Hmm.
a thing. Whether I have a division for each is that'll be determined based on, business and all that stuff. But uh, it's I really enjoy getting to know people,
Okay.
and and with businesses you don't really get to learn more about them other than
Yeah.
just how they do work and all that stuff. So you don't get to build a relationship with everybody around, other than oh, IT guys here, let's get that fixed, kind of a thing, because he, he came in, or and realistically with MSPs, it's like, oh, remoted in,
Yeah.
fixed, and 98% of the time, and then the other 10% is like, oh crap, everything's down. So yeah, I really do like both.
Okay.
So
But what about, so in terms of the MSP side? I know you're fairly new into it officially
yeah.
with the stack. Have you decided to go like target any particular verticals with that side, or is it
So
kind of whatever, whoever?
it's pretty much at this point whoever.
Yeah.
I do. I had a relatively large doctor's office for a while.
Hmm.
They ended up merging due to poor management, kind of a thing, and they're going to actually start again, and so I'll be taking that back over.
Okay.
But that I mean, I don't really have a set point in which I want to pigeonhole myself,
Hmm.
because again, there's only so many limited good techs.
Yeah.
But that's one of those where it's actually really cool in this area. We've started getting together, me and two other MSPs, and just working things out. I mean,
Okay.
we run stuff to, we go, hey, have you heard of this? Have you had any
Hmm.
problems with this and all that stuff? And it works out really well, because we all see different things all the time, and
Yeah.
we're all three of us are completely different sizes, and
Okay.
so it's it's one of those that it's nice to have. And actually, one of them is giving me access to SolarWinds at a cheaper rate,
Okay.
and so it's like, wow, I don't have to pay the $500 a month for, minimum for
Yeah.
that. And, it's like, okay, it's affordable. This
Yep.
is nice. And that, all we did was sign a 1-page agreement that we're not going to try and, kill each other and all
Hmm.
that stuff.
Yeah.
There's enough fish in the sea, kind of a thing. So,
Yeah, I mean, especially, when you're in a particular geography, if you can work together, it's much
hmm
better. Like you said, and you can pool your resources.
yeah,
Like you said, you get volume discounts on certain things, and
yeah,
it definitely helps out.
yeah.
Um, so, what about other? Do you engage with other MSPs outside of your area? Are you like active in any of the community groups, like on Facebook or Reddit or anything like that?
So Reddit, yes. I am trying to. I enjoy reading about everything under the
Hmm.
sun. I would, if people have suggestions on where to go and all that stuff, I'm open to it. I know the MSPs. I think it's subreddit MSPs only
Yeah.
or something like that. I like reading that, and you see some pretty terrible questions in there, and you're like, oh God, how did you do that?
Yeah.
but it's one of those. It all applies. So at some point, whether or not I'm in that field or for that particular situation, it's good to know that it exists,
Mhm.
because I get clients all the time that are like, "Can we do this?" I'm like, I'm sure. Let's
Yeah.
find out. Let's. I don't see why not. I mean, unless the technology just doesn't exist yet. But
Yeah.
I think we can. So it's. I do a lot of research for people, and
Okay.
that's I'm a partner with Ingram Micro, and their software side. They were like, you know, my manager was like, "Hey, I don't want to overwhelm you with everything." I'm like, "Just send it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna read it all. Don't worry, it's not a problem." He's like, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, seriously, like, just send it." So he's like, "Man, you've had me send like 60 things to you," and I'm like, "I read them all.
Yeah.
Like, I I'm gonna learn it. I mean, I didn't know most of this stuff existed until now, so
Yeah.
it's it makes a big difference, and so even things that I don't even have a use for,
Hmm.
inevitably I'll have a client ask for something in that field eventually, and so it's just good to know, like, I know something existed. Let's go back and see if
Yeah.
I can find it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, continuing education, so to speak, and
Hmm.
always absorbing and learning and understanding what's out there
Yep.
is always good in this field, by all means. Talking about business real quick though,
Hmm.
what about, like, how are you attracting new business? Are you doing any kind of advertising? Do you do AdWords? Do you have
So
billboards or?
So word of mouth is really big here.
Yeah.
This is a very small community as
Hmm.
far as everything. I mean, I think actual people wise between Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, there's about 15,000 people.
Okay.
And Foley, which is actually where I live, but I mean, it's like a 5-minute drive up the road from Gulf Shores, is actually one of the largest. It's ranked by Forbes in the top 10. It may be number one now, as where to grow your business at.
Oh, okay.
It's, I mean, it is exploding.
Cool.
So it's fantastic and all that stuff, but um, I've tried advertising with Google and all that stuff.
Hmm.
It wasn't very effective at the time. Google was definitely more effective than Facebook, but in this case,
Yeah.
but it wasn't giving me any returns, more or less. I was just breaking even, and so it was like, why keep
Yeah.
pooling this money for no reason?
Yeah.
Um, I have some interesting thoughts down the road of what to advertise
Okay.
about, um, mostly because of my break fix clients and all
Hmm.
that stuff. And I was like, what if we did that in a different perspective?
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of people that are faking customer support. And from other countries, and they're
Hmm. Yeah.
they're charging people astronomical amounts. I'm like,
Yeah.
what if we just did that, but in a normal sense, like, and actually we're real tech support people. And I
Yeah.
mean, and so instead of taking advantage of people, actually providing it to whoever needs it.
Hmm.
But that's a big thing, is I've actually been kind of taking the MSP side to individual clients too,
Okay.
not just businesses. It's like,
Yeah.
I can put SolarWinds on your computer,
Yep.
and then you need something, I can help you out. I can also
Hmm.
make sure you're not going to be going under the table and all that stuff and having
Yeah.
problems. And it's like, we'll get you set up to not have problems, and
Hmm.
then you just pay me to kind of take care of you, and if I
Yeah.
have to come out, I'll come out. So
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason, we talk about MSP all the time, and it's usually, you're providing IT services to a small business, but there's no reason why you can't, excuse me, provide that same service to individuals, right?
yeah.
You can still install monitoring software on their computers. You can
Yep.
still remote in if you need to, and fix their issues.
Hmm.
Except I bring up my mom all the time. I had to walk her through an issue this week,
Yep.
where I had to help her, fix something, and I remote in and
Yeah.
get everything set up, and back and working, it's the same idea. So
Yep.
it's
Oh
just
yeah.
residential versus
Yeah.
a small
Well,
business.
exactly. And if you have a low enough price point on your your RMM tools and all that stuff, it's like, all right, well, I mean, you don't have to
Mhm.
make as much of a profit, but realistically, there are a lot more people out there than businesses. So
Yeah.
that may be something people need to start looking at and going, huh, maybe I should actually help everybody out
Yeah.
instead of just going saying we're only doing business. That's it. I mean, maybe we only go on site for business, but
Yeah.
or for some astronomical labor rate, and if people are willing to do that, that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, I I've been just pushing people into that, and
Yeah.
everybody seems to be okay with it. I
Good.
mean, people paid $60 a year, $100 a year for antivirus
Yeah.
5-10 years ago. So, I mean, it's just kind of moving back into that scenario, and just being a little bit better at it.
Cool. So, getting started,
Mm-hmm.
you're like I said, you're 4 years in terms of your own business, but
Yep.
just a little bit in terms of the managed side.
Mm-hmm.
Any advice you have for someone else out there in a similar situation, just looking to get started, or maybe looking to switch over? What kind of advice do you have for people?
Um, partner up with, whether it be, Ingram or, Tech Data or a bunch of the, techs together.
Hmm.
There's all sorts of them, but, find a partner, that can provide you with more services and all of that stuff.
Okay.
But, um, in reality, ask for help. I
Hmm.
mean, that's, people generally are willing to help you if you ask, but if you never do anything, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's like, being able to bounce ideas off of my, what is now a good friend of mine. He's a competitor, but
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. And just say, hey, how does this work? And I mean, sometimes we spend 30 minutes to an hour on a phone conversation just saying, that's a phone conversation. Let's talk about backup and
Yeah.
what about this instead of that? And I mean, find someone that you can deal that kind of your business with, just asking
Yep.
questions, whatever.
Partnering is very important.
Hmm.
Um, so what is the best part of your job, of what you do? What do you like most?
um I mean, honestly, I like being the go-to person for for people who need stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, anything tech related, and people that we actually also fix TVs.
Okay.
We
I
do a
saw that on
lot
your
of
website.
things.
It was funny on your website. It said certain models,
Yeah,
right? So,
yes, because it's not cost effective on all models, kind
yeah.
of a thing, and so and inevitably I'll get like a tube TV in there, and it's
Hmm.
like, no, we're not fixing that. Just buy a new one.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean we do all sorts of things, and actually I have not he's another business, but I consider him a partner. He is a cell phone repair store and
Okay.
in my shop also.
Hmm.
So I mean, really, somebody walks into our shop, it's pretty much any tech under the sun, they'll do it. And even if it's something weird, because there's not many people in this area that fix anything outside of
Yeah.
that. So it's like, I have free time, bring it in. Let's see
Yeah.
let's see if we can mess with it. I've walked in one day and he was working on some form of radio. He was like, this thing's like $10. I don't even know why I'm fixing this. So, I mean, but
Sometimes it's about the challenge, right?
yeah, well, exactly. And that's something I do have a problem with, because I don't let things defeat me. And
Yeah.
at some point, I mean, I spent one time 30 hours at a client's house trying to figure out why I couldn't get it to work the right way. And I was like, all
Hmm.
right, I gotta step away. Like, this is burning all of my time,
Yeah.
and I don't, I'm not making any money on it and all that stuff, because it wasn't, it's not a business. I'm not going to charge them, it's 75 and $100 an hour
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do
for
that.
something that's bothering me.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're like, I'm like, no, we can fix this. It can happen.
Did you
So
did you try rebooting?
yeah, yeah. Is it plugged in? Did you turn it off and back
Yeah.
on? Yeah.
Is the
Uh,
power on?
yeah.
So what about what's kind of the worst thing, I guess, or some of the things that frustrate you sometimes?
Um, People's unwillingness to accept new technology.
Hmm.
That's a big issue around here. Is they know things are changing and all that stuff, but there are still a lot of places around here that, I mean, you walk in and they're running Windows XP,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Ah.
how how have you not been hacked? Like how is all of that not there? Because coming from a cybersecurity side, I
Yeah.
mean, I go, it's super easy. Like you you could watch YouTube and figure out how to do this to somebody. I'm like,
Hmm.
so it's frustrating, but slowly people are learning, and realistically, it's once they get to know me and everything, I'm like, look, this is just kind of how we need to do it. I get that it's cost, or there's cost involved and all that, but
Hmm.
I try to be as minimal cost as possible to the clients, just because I know it's hard for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
so, it's like, let's just kind of get your feet wet, and we can keep building on that down the road. And once you start doing better business and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
you'll grow, we'll grow, and we'll just keep building that up. And
Hmm.
so but that's really the most frustrating, and frustrating part of dealing with people is they don't like to change.
I definitely understand and hear that. So from a technology perspective, and you have some background in cybersecurity, right? In terms of
Yeah.
your schooling and those types
Yep.
of things. But what technologies are you most excited about? Whether it's something current or something in the near horizon?
um I'm very interested to see how quantum computing and all of that starts moving. I don't
Okay.
understand any of it. I mean, that's, but I can, if you can just kind of step out of the box and think,
Hmm.
what if that actually is possible? It opens a whole lot more, because people get stuck all the time and that's not doable. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can prove them wrong a lot of times, and it's like, no, you just have to take a different approach to it.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, there's been plenty of times recently that science has been wrong, and so it's like, we are learning a lot.
Yeah.
It was definitive until now, and
Yeah.
because we've gotten to that point. And so, I'm curious to see AI and all of that stuff rolling out, because it's becoming pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's using it. I'm really interested to see how Google is going to start with their AI program and all that. They just signed a deal with Mayo Clinic for 10 years,
Hmm.
hosting all of that. And so it's it's very interesting, all of that part. And that's I'm also kind of curious how the antivirus side will move.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's kind of weird. It's like antivirus was kind of like 10 years ago.
yeah,
Now it's threat detection
yeah,
response
yep,
and,
yeah,
different types of things because it's all, it's no longer about a virus. It's about
yeah,
ransomware. And
yeah.
so the industry lingo seems to be changing around
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, and that's I guess really I should say anti-malware at this point,
Yeah.
because that's becoming the more common term, because it's the
Yeah.
umbrella. And, and, um, people are like, well, how did I get a virus? I have antivirus. I'm like, they're only 80% effective.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm like, the next gen stuff is probably better. I mean,
Hmm.
there are some out there that are pretty much 100% effective all the time.
Yeah.
You have to set them up, and
Hmm.
they're also a lot more expensive.
Yes.
Uh, and so it comes with cost of being secure. But um, yeah, and that actually reminds me, there was we had a customer come in for uh, helping with their iCloud or something, with their iPhone, and I was helping her out. And I was like, what, we'll call, like, because I'll call customer support for people and all that,
Hmm.
because it's a lot easier for me to do it, and it gets them out
Yeah.
the door a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let's not have you here for 2 hours. Let's just, I'm gonna tell the people exactly what's wrong. We'll go from there. And So I was talking with somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, you probably have some." Uh, they're like, "You probably have something in your your phone or whatever." I was like, "Yeah, because Macs don't get viruses." And he's like, "No, they just get malware." And I'm like, I hope he's just dumb enough to not know that that's the same thing or same premise. Like, and it's probably like, you cannot say that Macs get viruses because we will be sued into the ground because we
Probably,
said
yeah.
that for years. And that's probably, man, I'm just like, I hope it's one of those two, because if it's a third option, you're just dumb. But, they get viruses. I mean,
Yep.
people are like, oh, that mine never get it. And it's like, okay, but that's not saying that everybody else's doesn't.
True.
I
True.
mean, you just don't go to those sites, or
Yeah.
you haven't been in an environment that causes that problem.
Or
So
you haven't got one of those nasty emails that you clicked on.
yeah, you actually didn't click that email like
Yeah.
everybody else. I mean, you probably trained your people not to do that. I mean, that's generally the big thing is human error. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we are up to our rapid fire round now.
Okay.
So this is meant to be fun. It's just 6 questions.
Okay.
Whatever first comes to your head or on your personal preference. So you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. First up, Apple or Android?
Android.
Okay. Mac, Linux, or Windows?
Windows or
Okay.
Linux, but
Okay. Amazon cloud services, Amazon, Azure, or something else?
that would be G Suite or Google.
Okay.
Yeah.
Backups, local, cloud, or both?
Both.
Okay. Should you always virtualize? Yes or no?
Ooh, it depends on the scenario, but
Okay.
I would say it's not necessarily mattering anymore.
Okay.
Things are getting out of virtualization.
And finally, which is worse, printer support or vendor cold calls?
Oh, God, that's an awful one. I would say printer support, but that's generally like chuck it out the window and
Yeah, because they're as cheap as they are. And, you spend 15 minutes on it, if you can't get it working, go buy a new one. So.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you bought $1,000 one, and then they just tend to work. I mean,
yeah. So before we go, any other tips, advice that you have for the audience out there?
I mean, not really. It's mostly, I guess really, I would like to see more MSPs work together and all of that stuff. That's we don't need to be enemies. We don't need to be fighting for the business. There's 330 million people that live in this country. Just there aren't nearly that many MSPs. I mean, so it's one of those. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Just work together and stop trying to be a cutthroat.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think it is nice about MSPs is I think most of them realize that, right? Yeah. I mean, you've got MSP peer groups. Some are nationwide, some are regional, and then you formed your own with a couple of shops and in your area. So I think a lot of people realize that there is enough business out there, and you don't have to just continue to undercut the people next door, so to speak. So
definitely so. And then I guess my last one is don't try to underprice yourself, because at a certain point when you undercut the rest of the market, there's no more money in the market and it'll die. So people need to remember that.
Great. Well, Dan, thank you so much. It's been very enjoyable, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
No, thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.